What is up, everybody? Solomon here. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic Friday. I want to present a little bit of a time frame for you guys today, this morning, this evening, this afternoon, wherever you happen to be. It's my opinion that we may be close to some sort of a parabolic move here. I could certainly be wrong as well, but there's a lot of things that are aligning that lead me to believe that, and I'm starting to see rhetoric from many different individuals that kind of allude to that action. So I want to take you back to 2017. This is about a month before the CME group announced Bitcoin futures. This is JP Morgan, the CEO, which is Jamie Dimon, stating that Bitcoin is a fraud that will eventually blow up. You can go back and find this article for yourself. It's September 12th, 2017. Now, obviously, we do know that Bitcoin basically topped on December 16th, 2017. Let's look what Jamie Dimon says. January 9th, 2018, after that parabolic move, after the very top, as prices began to crash. Jamie Dimon regrets calling Bitcoin a fraud, believes in the technology behind it. Very interesting. We'll see where this goes here, because right now, he's essentially starting to say the same thing. JP Morgan basically saying that, Jamie Dimon stating that Bitcoin is worthless. And this was, I believe, 3 days ago. So I'll let you guys listen to this. This is a wolf in sheep's clothing if you've ever seen one. We already know how much JP Morgan manipulates silver, how much silver that they're holding, physical silver. So yeah, let's just move from here.
I personally think that Bitcoin is worthless, but I don't want to be a spokesman. I don't care. It makes no difference to me. Our clients are adults. They disagree. That's what makes markets. So if they want to have access to buy or sell Bitcoin, it's hard. We can't custody it, but we can give them legitimate, as clean as possible access. I personally think that Bitcoin is worthless.
Yeah, the guy's a complete snake, to be honest with you. And interesting that anybody listens to him whatsoever at this point in time. Now, just to give you guys some insight as well, this is October 31st, 2017. The CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange Group, announced the launch of Bitcoin futures. Now, they didn't actually launch on October 31st, 2017. Guess when they launched? They launched literally the day of or the day after the peak of the entire bull market, okay? Now, this is going to kind of transcend into where we're going with today's talk as well. Bitcoin debuts on the world's largest futures exchange and prices fall slightly. This was on December 17th, 2017. This was right after that blow-off top. And the mainstream media is going to be presenting you news stating prices fall slightly after some sort of a gigantic parabolic move. They're still going to be telling people to buy in. You will see people like Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan telling people that he was wrong to buy in, because they want you to be buying in during these breakdowns in price. They want you to be buying in whenever they know that they're going to be able to capitalize and short right on you, right on top of you. And they're going to be able to capitalize on you, which I'm just trying to give you guys a heads up. Do not let that happen. If we do have this parabolic move and if we do have a blow off top, hopefully I can give you some insight into where I think that may be in this market cycle here in these next couple of slides, and some tools that you guys can potentially utilize to do that deep digging and to research that out for yourselves. Now, to kind of bring this all together, at least before I talk about those slides, this is from Bitcoin Archive. There was a lot of people alluding to the fact that the SEC has approved Valkyrie's Bitcoin Strategy Exchange Traded Fund, the ETF. Now, it has not been approved yet, but that approval was supposed to be coming extremely soon. At least that's my understanding. This is just a notice from NASDAQ to the SEC stating that they've approved the securities and waiting a decision from the SEC. That's all. I think that I saw something down here as well, basically stating that one of the larger contributors for one of the larger financial networks, stating that it's almost a lock at this point in time. By Monday or Tuesday, we should see that approval. Again, I don't hold Bitcoin. I'm just trying to give you guys the facts of what happens, what has happened in the past when we see these major approvals. And again, if it gets approved, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the go live date. I put out a tweet today stating, when CME futures was announced in 2017, which was in late October, as we just saw, that's when that parabolic move started. If you were here during that time frame, you remember November, and you really probably remember the first week of December, the second week of December. And when the CME futures went live, when they actually went live, December 16th or the 17th, that was the top of the entire run. I'm not going to say that history is going to repeat itself, but I'm curious if it rhymes. Bitcoin price today, obviously 61,000. This probably is a little bit out of date. $61,756.88. We are seeing some divergence that is, for me, bullish indicators that I would normally look at. I try to keep things as simple as possible. If you want to see an actual TA guy, go to Blockchain Backer. I always recommend Crypto Crew University as well. Those guys do a great job. Crypto Crew kind of just focuses on Bitcoin, but we'll dig into alts to an extent. I know we all know in the XRP community and even in the quant community and a lot of other communities that are kind of tied in with that utility maximalist type point of view. Blockchain Backer does a fantastic job as well, so definitely go check him out. Anyways, we're seeing an RSI break, essentially, which is oversold and overbought conditions, that we haven't broken this level, 31st of July of this year, but really we got to go all the way back to pretty much February until we're getting into this RSI level, February, maybe March. So that's good news. I mean, we needed to do that. We had bearish divergence within the RSI for literally months that began, I think it was in that like February, March timeframe. And then we saw more bearish divergence right here starting in that July timeframe, and we're breaking out of it. Hopefully, this is just the daily, keep in mind. And obviously price action is nice to see on Bitcoin too, because that's going to allude to hopefully returns for alts, because we know that when Bitcoin does these pumps, eventually it cools down to an extent, and then alts begin to run. So I'm hoping to see that a lot of the utility assets that we've been holding that have kind of maintained that ground, as far as HBAR, as far as XRP, kind of that 80 cent level for XRP, that 30-ish cent level for HBAR are kind of those key levels. This is what I'm really curious about, and I will show you guys a tool that I want to use here. I actually had this chart pulled up, and I shared this chart on Patreon like literally 6 or 7 months ago. Now, this was much different when I actually posted it before, okay? I had potential market top on here from 5-6 months ago, but I also had, I had support written here. I had support written here. Then I had resistance written here. And what I'm looking at is this trend line. This trend line right here that essentially tackles Bitcoin throughout its entirety. This is on the monthly chart, obviously, because this thing just is so hard to scale the entire way. But we can see that this yellow trend line literally has maintained support through every bear market ever. 2012 maintained support. 2013 maintained support. Then we peaked out. 2016 maintained support. 2017 maintained support. We peaked out. What happened though after the 2017 bull run was very interesting. Okay. And I have to give credit to Crypto Crew University on this one as well. This guy posted this like 7 months ago. So this is his baby. 2017, we broke below this trend line, this long trend line. And why I'm using the BLX is because it essentially is a price aggregator throughout the entire history of Bitcoin. This goes all the way back to 2009, basically, early 2010. After the bull market occurred in 2017, this trend line did something very interesting, or I should say the price action did something very interesting in correlation to this trend line right here, and it broke below it. We held it as resistance in 2019. I posted this on Patreon way freaking before, when was it? April or May, when we topped out this interim top. I think I posted this in January-ish, December, January timeframe. Did the same thing. We did the same thing in April or May. So what's interesting to me is that these are called the Bitcoin logarithmic growth curves. You can look at what these are. The log growth curves are essentially just kind of, I always talk about the higher floor and the lower ceiling for an asset that has a lot of history, like something like Bitcoin. You could even kind of allude to that starting to become an issue for something like Litecoin or Ripple or Ethereum. Things that have years worth of data. You're going to consistently see a lower ceiling and a higher floor. That's just without utility, obviously. So I'm just talking about speculative price right here, because obviously I believe the prices can go higher than this. But what's interesting is when you overlay these types of things, this long-term trend line here with the log growth curves, it's giving me basically this $129,020 price for Bitcoin potentially as a top. Obviously, the price would rise depending on when the market cycle top may be. The other interesting thing, and if you notice here, price data is not completely up to date on the BLX, which is the Brave New Coin Liquid Index for Bitcoin. I think it updates weekly. That's why I went over the price. Right now is $61,659. If you go back to 2017, 2013, we saw very similar action. The same level with the log growth curves we had a touch base on got rejected, went below the median line. This median line is kind of this more so highlighted line here. We touched base on the 21 EMA. We rose back above it, and we literally went parabolic in 2013. We broke above the median line, which you can see right here, which we're actually doing right now, and we went parabolic right away. I'm not going to say that that's what's going to happen, but we have to prepare ourselves for every different possibility. And I do think that I would use something like this really long-term trend line, and maybe it breaks above it. Maybe it goes parabolic a little bit slightly above it. I don't know. We're just used to seeing that 80 to 90% correction after the bull market occurs, especially if a parabolic blow-off top occurs. So this price level for me is interesting, this like 120,000. If you extrapolate that out a little bit further in December, that would put you out at about $148,000 for a Bitcoin. But, again, $148,000 for a Bitcoin would take you above the growth curve that it's been building for 11 years at this point in time. So it would do something that it hasn't done before. Not to say that it can't do it. And there's enough data points, I believe, on the log growth curves to actually, you always want at least about 3 data points. So we have 3, right? This would be the 4th data point. Can it certainly break it and go above this level? Maybe. But these are the things that I'm looking out for. Again, this market top thing I had posted for like 6 or 7 months ago, and it just so happened to shake out. I guess I'll delete it now. I did want to share that though, but I'm paying attention to this very much so. I think that hopefully this is a little bit valuable for you guys. But look into Bitcoin.com is really the site that I would use, where you don't have to know how to do anything. You don't have to know how to populate indicators. Again, I'm not a TA guy. I just look at really simple things that I can understand. The one thing that I really like is the golden ratio multiplier. Golden ratio multiplier for me is kind of triggering buy signals whenever we're at the lowest point. At least that's what I would want to use it for, because it's very simple to do. When I say at the lowest point, I'm literally looking at the bottom trend line here. And anytime price action is below that, and you can use other metrics in tandem with that, like the RSI and other things, where everything is breaking below what it normally should be, and it's just completely oversold. It's completely below a trend line that has kind of maintained that median level for something like Bitcoin. Doesn't mean I'm going to buy Bitcoin, but if Bitcoin is oversold and it's in a bear market and it capitulates, you better believe that other assets are going to capitulate even harder and go down harder. Better buying opportunities. And just for an example, if you want to call BS on something like this, I mean, the last time that this flashed below the lowest indicator is the 16th of March 2020. $5,000 Bitcoin. Arguably one of the better times you could have ever bought in Bitcoin. 15th of December 2018, $3,000 Bitcoin. I know the prices were low then as well. I do think that the best buying opportunity for any altcoin probably was right around this March timeframe, because we were getting right out of that consolidation area, and it was kind of this last flush out that we did see. But there's multiple other charts on here either. Otherwise, so like Pi cycle top indicator I talked about, another Crypto Crew University thing, literally free videos. He does have classes. I'm not affiliated with him. I'm just shilling the guy for some reason. I posted this to Patreon too, just from watching that guy's videos to my patrons, like all the way back in January of this year. And one of the dudes on my Patreon, I was on a Telegram stream, was like, hey, I used that Pi cycle top indicator, and literally within 3 days of when Bitcoin topped out in whatever it was, May or whatever, or April, he was able to sell and buy back in low or do whatever he needed to do. I'm not saying that means that I'm going to be right with these types of things. All I'm saying is this is what I'm looking at. I'm trying to use as many tools as possible. I'm not going to use the tools where people are just saying that something's going to go to an arbitrary number just because they believe it or they think that it can at some point in time, because to me that's complete bullshit. There's no metrics that can measure that. There's no metrics also that can measure utility, but we don't even have regulatory clarity yet, and fucking meme coins are across the board right now. So do you think that we're in a utility bull run, or do you think that there's another bull run to come that actually has real utility? I think it's a mixture of both. I think that every bull run we have more and more utility, and we're going to have regulatory clarity as well. I'm just saying don't follow BS, because the same people that are telling you to buy in at the top are the same people that are telling you that literally that XRP is going to go to $600 overnight. Can that happen? Sure. But can I measure that as any sort of a metric at all whatsoever? No. And do I believe that that's reality? No, I don't. But if you do get into these things during capitulation moments, if you get in early enough, or not even early enough, if you're buying at the right price points, projects that you've researched and vetted out on your own, anybody that tells you to do otherwise is a liar. Anybody that's shilling something to you is a liar. You need to vet stuff out on your own. If you're willing to do that, and you're willing to do that in a way that is comfortable for you and only risk what you're willing to lose to afford completely, and use fundamental metrics, along with, I would certainly suggest being able to at least look at something like this and be like, okay, I can draw a trend line. Oh, wow. $14,000 looks like a pretty major level for Bitcoin. Maybe in the future, maybe not in the future. All-time high, obviously. You have to look for weekly candles that both have consolidate or have resistance and support. Try to draw a trend line, see where price action could potentially go. Look for different triggers. There's different tools to use as well. I'm not a TA guy whatsoever. I'm just telling you what I try to do. I try to use multiple different metrics when I invest in projects that I really want to hold for a long time, because I want to buy those projects so that I can hold them for a longer period of time instead of just getting worried about price action day to day. Yeah, I don't know. I hope this was valuable. All I'm saying is don't pay attention to the mainstream media. Don't pay attention to the news. They're going to show you things. JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon is saying Bitcoin is a scam again right now. Guarantee you, right after the parabolic top, you're going to see CNBC. You're going to be seeing Fox News, everything else. And I do believe we have a parabolic move. I still believe it. That doesn't mean it happens. You're going to see these news outlets having no idea what they're talking about, or maybe they do, telling you to buy after that top has already come in, okay? And what do you think is happening when you're buying? They are selling right on top of you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do your own research. Do your own due diligence. Don't trust anybody. Don't trust the news. Certainly don't trust Jamie Dimon. That dude is hoarding silver, and I'm sure he's mining Bitcoin, and we know that he's got his own digital asset initiatives as well. So just be very cognizant and careful out there, guys. All right, a little bit of a different video. I hope you enjoyed it. If not, fantastic. I don't care, and I will talk to you when I talk to you later.